At least we know what to expect tonight, and we already went through a good portion of the baskets, Alex said. We just have to wait until midnight. And in the meantime, I could really use a nap, Connor said. The twins traveled up the street and booked a room at the Shoe Inn. Their room had a perfect view of Red Riding Hood's castle. It was somewhere near the shoe's tongue, because a set of laces crossed through one of their walls. The room also had a working bathtub, and they both took turns using it, since they hadn't been able to bathe in so long. That was the best bath I think I'll ever have, Connor said. They both decided to rest for a little bit, and as soon as their bodies touched the bed, they both fell into a deep sleep. They slept for a few hours and woke up shortly before midnight. What's our game plan for tonight? Connor said. It'll be the first time we'll ever be breaking and entering anywhere, so I'm extra anxious. Let's take account of everything we have now, Alex said, and dumped all of the contents of their bags onto the bed. We have 2 blankets, a bag of gold coins, a dagger, a lock of Rapunzel's hair, a glass slipper, a map, a journal, and a satchel of food. Alex listed. We can use the dagger to cut a chunk of wood out of the basket, but it's going to be dark. We'll need some light. Let's take these lanterns, Connor said, and he gathered lanterns that were on the bedsides. Great, Alex said. We should plan on leaving the kingdom right after, just in case we run into some trouble. We'll head to the east entrance of the kingdom, and that'll bring us close to the border of the fairy kingdom. Connor lowered his head. I was so looking forward to coming back to this bed. At 11:45, Alex and Connor gathered all their things, lit their lanterns, and left the Shoe Inn. They walked across town to the castle. It was so quiet at night. Not even farm animals were up this late. They hid behind Humpty Dumpty's wall and watched through the castle windows as guards patrolled the halls. Just a few more minutes and they'll leave, Alex said. A few minutes later, they saw fewer and fewer guards walk past the windows. Are they gone? Connor asked. They must be, Alex said. Let's go. They ran around to the back of the castle and saw a large kitchen through a set of windows. They hopped across the moat. They knew they'd be able to, and pulled at the window. Like the journal had said, it didn't have a lock and it opened easily. Alex crawled into the kitchen first. She was as quiet as possible. The only sound she made came from the intense beats of her heart. Connor climbed in after and knocked over a stack of pots and pans. Alex was mortified. I'm going to kill you, she mouthed at him. Sorry, he mouthed back at her. They waited for a moment to see if anyone had heard the disturbance, but no one had. The twins left the kitchen and found themselves in a hallway with, to no surprise, more portraits of Red Riding Hood. That Red Riding Hood sure loves having her portraits painted, Connor said. Maybe there are so many paintings of her because she's the first monarch the kingdom has ever had. It doesn't have the history the Charming Kingdom has, Alex said. Or she's just a self-obsessed twit, Connor said. They traveled down the hall, then another one, then up a set of stairs and down another hall. Do you know where you're going? Connor asked. I thought I was following you, Alex said. What? Since when do you follow me? Connor said. A shadow was creeping toward them from down the hall. As it got closer, they could see it was the silhouette of a guard. A guard, Alex whispered and pointed at the shadow. They ran down the hall and entered the first room they found. The room was pitch black. Where are we now? Connor asked. Why are you asking me questions you know I don't have the answers to? Alex said. Alex waited by the door and listened for the guard to pass by. Connor moved around the room with his hands stretched out in the darkness so he wouldn't bump into anything. Their eyes began to adjust to the darkness. Alex, I think I can see something. Connor walked right into what he thought was a doorway and suddenly saw a pale face staring back at him. He fell to the floor with fear. He screamed as quietly as he could. Alex, there's something standing over there in the doorway. It's so creepy and ugly, Connor said, pointing up. Alex ran to his side and squinted her eyes to see what he was talking about. That's not a doorway. That's a mirror, you idiot, Alex said. Oh, Connor said, and Alex helped him up to his feet. Oh my, what big claws you have, said a voice behind Alex and Connor, causing them both to jump 5 feet into the air. They turned to see an enormous 4-poster bed with silky red sheets and lacy white curtains around it. In the bed, talking in her sleep, was Queen Red Riding Hood. We're in the Queen's bedroom, Connor whispered to Alex. Oh my, what a big nose you have, Grandma, Red said, still very much asleep. Is she having a nightmare? Connor asked. Oh my, what big sharp teeth you have. Woof! Red screamed and sat straight up in her bed, awake. Alex and Connor dropped to the floor out of her view. She was out of breath and beads of sweat appeared on her forehead. She finally caught her breath. Not again, she said, and then frustrated, laid back down to sleep. Alex and Connor were afraid to move. Did she go back to sleep yet? Connor asked. How are we supposed to tell? Alex asked. Oh my, what big strong arms you have, Jack, Red said. I'm guessing she's asleep, Connor said, and confidently stood. Oh my, what soft lips you have, Jack, Red said. Let's get out of here before we hear her describe anything else, Connor said. They emerged back into the hall and traveled around the castle for a while longer. All the halls looked so familiar. It seemed impossible to find the basket room. Every time they thought they had found the right door, they found themselves in a drawing room or a dining room or a ballroom. Let's find the entrance and retrace our steps to the throne room, Alex began, but Connor interrupted her. No need, the baskets are in there, he said, and pointed to a door beside them. How do you know? Alex asked him. Because I remember that portrait of Red being next to the basket room, Connor said, and pointed to a portrait where Red Riding Hood was barely clothed with only a wolfskin coat to cover her. Alex gave Connor a really dirty look. What? Connor asked with a smirk. It's memorable. They pushed the door open and found the room they had spent the entire afternoon in. Let's take it from where we left off, Alex said. She and Connor split up and headed to the areas they had last searched.